All right. Good morning. Let's see. It's 5:38, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Big Irish J grinding on eBay. I got a couple topics to talk to you about today. A couple things I'm concerned about, and a couple things I'm excited about, which are, some are good, some are bad, but topics are topics, and the point of the show is to try to help the the newcomer that comes on to try to be a reseller to be as productive as positive. As possible, and I have people that I consider mentors, like Stephen Rakin and Bonafide Hustler and Rockstar Flipper, and the list goes on and on and on. If it wasn't for me spending the time watching these guys and what they were talking about and trying to understand what they were talking about and putting their practices into my work, then things wouldn't have started going the way that they did. Because in the beginning, like I said, things started out really, really slow, and I was really frustrated. But then I started to understand that I didn't know everything about being an eBay seller, and I got to do some research. And it's like going to class every day. You got to spend some time in the research and development of your business. So this is just a part of research and development of business, because the things that I bring out to you, ladies and gentlemen, are the things that I learned from my mentors. So and also my personal experiences, which is really good to hear, because a lot of people go through different things, and one problem that I may have, somebody else might not have. So, learning from other people's mistakes are also a good way to have a successful business and being able to make a decent profit. And that's what this is all about. This is about making money. This is about putting some cash aside. This is about starting a business and being proactive, and not just sitting around and thinking that I'm just going to post some stuff up on eBay and it will sell itself. Because let me tell you, it will not sell itself. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is eBay, how their policies are. Are they for the seller or are they for the buyer? Okay. Now, I have, over the last couple months, have ran into a few problems, and, it was getting very frustrating for me, and it seemed like that eBay was more for the customer than they were for the seller, which really got me frustrated. And, when people decide that, they get something, it doesn't look the way that it looked on the picture, or, they just don't like it the way it, maybe if it's clothing, the way it fits. If it's an electronic, maybe it just has just a look to it that they don't like. And, even though that these things work, they still decide to open up a claim against you. And, what they do is, when somebody opens up a claim against you on eBay, they automatically take the money and put it on hold on your PayPal account. Now, I've came across some situations where I needed to use some money on my PayPal account, and I did. And the only money that I had left on there was the money from a couple purchases that people made, and that included their shipping money. So all of a sudden I was in a negative, and I was really frustrated, and I didn't know what to do. And it really made me think, like, is eBay for me or for the buyer? And I understand that they have to have a certain kind of policy, but that's the one thing that I do like about Amazon. Amazon has you click and you buy, and I run into situations where people will click on something, they will buy it, it will be taken off of your active list of things to sell on eBay, and it will go under your sold section. Uh, a customer has 48 hours to make a payment. And if they don't make a payment within 40 hours, you have two options. You can either opt to automatically, through a setting, have eBay, a claim will automatically be opened against this person. They have 4 days to pay. If they don't pay within 4 days, I'm not really sure at this point what you get after it, but they said some kind of compensation, and I think it's like maybe free listings or something like that, because the only thing that I really got was, 200 free listings, which does save a lot of money at 30 cents a pop when you're listing. But, it's like, it's like, eBay should adopt the same policy, I think. I think it should be a one-click buy. When you hit that, I know people have, second thoughts or they're not really sure, but why should something of mine be put on the back burner waiting for somebody to make a decision? That's how I really feel. And I feel like that they should adopt it. I know that Amazon, has a patent on this, but, we also use PayPal, which, when you click buy, they should just automatically deduct it out of the other person's account and it goes into your account. Your time to make a decision was, as you're looking at it, it's not fair to the buyer. It's not fair to the seller for a buyer to take something off of your active selling list to be put on your sold list and to just be sitting there collecting dust, not making any money, and then this person decides they don't want it and you just wasted time. So that was a frustration, and unless eBay makes some policy changes, that's going to be a frustration that we are going to have to deal with for a long time. The second thing is, let's see, we already got into the second thing, was not getting paid for items. The third thing I have is, how I was afraid to try different forums. Like, I was so eBay structured because I felt safe. I'm in a wheelchair. I really don't feel like running around the city trying to meet people to sell things, and that's not really what I'm into. But I got over my fears a little bit about it, and if you meet people, if you're giving somebody a good price, all right, and if they really want the item bad enough, they will come to you to get the item. Now, I'm selling the item. You want to buy it. I will maybe, go up to a mile or two out of my way to meet you someplace. But you always run into the situation where the person might not show up, or the person's just playing a joke or a prank, or, it's like, again, it's balancing out, reading people's feedbacks and profiles and knowing, if they're a good person to make a sale with. So today was the first day that I decided, yesterday, was the first day that I decided to put something up on OfferUp, which they have in my city. I don't know if they have it in other cities, but so I put it up and bang, the first thing that I put up sold. It's already gone, and it's starting to make me rethink things like, should I just stick with eBay, or should I branch out? And maybe should I, what I'm really starting to understand now is that some things just sell better on different forums. Not necessarily that eBay's bad, but it's good for certain things, you know. When you want protection on an item, when you want protection as a seller, if it's something that's a valuable item, if it's something, you know, electronic that's worth some good money, yes, I would say stick with eBay. You know, keep yourself safe, keep yourself protected, and, you know, make sure that, you know, because when you go in to ship something out over a certain amount, you're automatically getting, you know, a $50 insurance policy, which is good for you and the customer, just in case something happens. But, you know, if you decide to go out with just say for instance, you have an Apple Mac, you know, computer, whatever they're called, the iMac or whatever the new one is that everybody's crazy about. This they're super expensive, and you know, I'm not really into Apple products myself, but say you take an item like that out to meet somebody and offer up. Now you're looking at a product that is, you know, first of all going to be expensive. So you know, you can run into two things. You could be the buyer that gets scammed and potentially could get robbed from somebody for the amount of money because they know that you're bringing this amount of money. Or you can be the seller and lose out and get your item stolen from you. You know, I live in an inner urban city, and things like this happen. It just, you know, everybody doesn't have to deal with situations like that. But unfortunately, you know, in the urban city where I'm from, things like that do happen. You know, like, I'm not saying that everybody's bad, and this is something that is the norm. But you know, I'm not saying that something like this could not happen. I mean, it definitely could happen. You always got to keep it on the forefront of your mind. So, either take somebody with you if you're going to decide to sell something expensive on, you know, say like OfferUp or Letgo or one of the many platforms that they have now for selling to be a reseller. So, you know, yeah, there's things that you're going to want to put in place. You're going to want to meet in a very public place. You know, maybe like a Wawa parking lot or a 7-Eleven parking lot, or maybe like a mall's parking lot or something like that. And you're going to want to bring somebody with you just in case. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You got to always, you know, CYA, you know, cover your ass. So, you know, so like I said, that was my fear. So I got over that fear, and, you know, I'm going to start putting up certain things on OfferUp that aren't really doing too well on eBay, and just see how they do on OfferUp. Because maybe on OfferUp, when I meet somebody, there's not a shipping involved in it, and then maybe I can give it to, you know, sell the item for a better price, you know. Also, just knowing each platform, and, you know, what I would do if I were you, I would go through each platform like Letgo and OfferUp and Etsy, and I would see what kind of items are on there, see what kind of things are selling. Like Etsy, I believe, is like, you know, where you're going to find your, you know, vintage stuff, maybe some clothing, and, you know, maybe a little bit of everything. But, you know, there's, from what I understand, a base thing that sells on Etsy, and that is, you know, maybe vintage glasswares and things like that. You know, certain customer bases for certain platforms. So, you know, do your research, you know, investigate, see what's going on, see what's selling, you know your platform. You know, I think it's important to do that, you know. I think a lot of us resellers get into this business thinking that we're just going to list things and we're just going to sell them and ship them out, and we're going to make a lot of money and everything is going to be all good. And it's just not like that. You know, this is like a real job. You know, and, you know, if you're doing it part-time, okay. If you're doing it full-time like I am right now, it's a full-time job for me. So, you know, that's why I started, you know, Big Irish J grinding on eBay is because I want to be able not only to promote that, I have, stuff on eBay and maybe other forums, but also to inform other people of what kind of person I am, and also help the newcomer, help the person that's just starting out. That's, I think that is a fair thing to do. Just like Stephen Rakin, he put a lot of work into trying to help the newcomer, the new person coming to be a reseller, and he put a lot of time and effort into coming up with strategies and books and ways to take pictures and top sale items, clothing wise, and shoes wise, and ties wise, and suits wise, and just brands that you need to know that are top sellers on eBay. And Stephen Rakin is somebody. If you don't know him, he has a show called Rakin Profit, and that is like a class for me every day. I come home, I watch whatever new episode he has, or if he has a webinar, I go on the webinars, and I am a part of the community. They have like a chat and everything called the Green Room, and you can watch these live going on with Bonafide Hustler and Rockstar Flipper, and he does his little interviews with certain people, and like I said, from certain people you get different information that will help you become a better reseller. Reselling is it's not what I thought it was going to be. I will tell you that it takes a lot of work. It takes up a lot of room, and you can easily outgrow your home as a business place real quick if you're successful. I'm not at that point yet, but you have to find your niche. You have to find out what you're good at selling. So, and there's many places out there where if you have the money to be able to do it, you can really start getting into trying out different things, and there's going to be a lot of failure before you find the positive things. My next thing is going to be buying from bulk, and I want to buy things. They have a contract with Target, and you can buy stuff that's returns that are opened, or you can buy new stuff, and there's a lot of fair prices on there. Now, the only bad thing about it is that, you're only going to be able to see the stuff that's on the top of the box. But by seeing the stuff on the top of the box, they have a lot of duplicates and triples and quadruples of things that are in the box. I seen a lady had a video and she had a lot of Christmas stuff and it was nowhere near Christmas. But hey, you put that stuff to the side, and when Christmas time comes up, you're already ready to go, So... I really wish that I had the resources to be able to have some sort of small little warehouse to work out of. I was even thinking about maybe like a storage facility or something like that I could work out of. But, now you're talking about, working off your phone, because they're, unless you have, the Wi-Fi off your phone, which costs money to go to your computer, you're not going to be able to really do what you want to do. And then you're going to be, having the people there that are, what are you doing here for so long? This is not a place to live. This is a place to store stuff. This is not a business storefront. But, I think if you rent out a space, it should be for, if you want to run an eBay business out of it for 8 hours a day, you're paying rent, you're paying rent on the spot. So, and that's another thing that I would like to try to get into is going to the auctions for these storage facilities, because I see a lot of people, they come across there's people that I have seen who have been self-made off of, buying these auction, bidding on these storage facilities and finding really, really expensive things that they did not know that were there, like coin collections and rare, like really rare things. And, it's just, you're going to have your wins and you're going to have your losses. But if your wins outweigh your losses, then it's worth it, right? I think it is. So, unfortunately, I'm kind of tapped out on how much further I can go right now. And I think that is the most frustrating thing as a reseller, is that I have everything invested into being a reseller right now, that I can't really grow any further without hurting the family economically, and that just can't happen. So I'm willing to grow slow, and if it takes a year or more to grow my business, then so be it. I will do it. And as long as I keep my ratings up on my platforms, and as long as I'm shipping the things out the way I'm supposed to, and as long as I'm describing things as they are, I'm always going to have good feedback. So, I'm not really worried about that, because I'm not the type of person that's going to lie to you and tell you that something is a cream puff when it's a piece of crap. So, being honest is the best policy, and there's something out there for everybody. So, I just recently started getting into the international thing, so I'm kind of really hoping that somebody internationally buys something, because then it would give me the idea of how this is going to go. Like, in the beginning, when I started this eBay business, with a tablet and my phone, and that's all I had, and I was still making money. So, now I got myself a really inexpensive computer, because all I do is my eBay on it, and everything else I do off my phone. And, I really don't think, you need to go much further than that. You don't need to buy yourself a $500, $600, $800 computer. My computer costs $199 and is perfect for what it's needed for. And I run 2 YouTube channels off of it. So, it's perfect for what I need. And, let's see. The one thing I wanted to talk about is, as a reseller, and, I go through my inventory once a day. I check everything out. I look at the prices. I make sure everything is, copacetic on the site. And I started noticing that a lot of things were just hanging around, and on eBay we call this the death pile, and I don't want to have that much stuff in the death pile. You know what I mean? So what I started doing is I took a chance, and I started upping the price of the product, but offering free shipping. Knowing how much an item is going to cost to ship is very important, because I know that it's going to cost me flat, the way I ship is going to cost me anywhere from $325 to $375 to ship a DVD with a tracking number. I haven't gotten my printer yet, so I'm still doing everything the hard way. But when you have a printer, you actually save more money. You're going to save 25% on your shipping, because once you print out a shipping label, they're going to automatically upload the tracking number. See, when you go into a post office, you could put something up on a scale and it could say one price, but as soon as you ask for a tracking number, it becomes a whole different thing, and it becomes a whole different price. So, I remember one time I was in there, and I was like, man, this stuff is $1 to something to ship. I could do this all day long. This is no big deal. And at the end, I'm like, sir, where's the tracking numbers? He says, well, you got to pay for them. I said, well, I need all this for tracking numbers. So the guy had to go all the way through the stuff, back again, put tracking numbers and everything. I'm sure he was ticked off, and I wasn't too happy myself because I didn't know. It's just part of the learning curve. And if you're not willing to take a couple on the chin, and if you're not willing to, win some and lose some, then, I don't think reselling is the business that you should be in because, a lot of people will not tell you this, but, not everything sells. Not everything that you're going to buy is going to sell. You're going to have things sitting up on eBay for a very long time, and I've had things sitting on there for a very long time that eventually did sell, but I have things still listed right now from when I first started that are still sitting on there. So just remember that you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. So maybe, you can donate, which I'm not donating nothing to eBay because, I don't know what they give back for it, what you're getting for it, but, I'm just not donating. That's just not happening. I'm not going to give them something for them to sell and make money off of it. I think they should be, see the thing about this, the thing about these forums is that every time you want to get your item on the front line and up in front of somebody's face, they want to charge you more for it. Now we're already being charged for you're charging me 10%. I got PayPal charging me. I'm getting hit on two different angles, which thank God that sometime soon I think eBay's policies change, and once you make a transaction, everything is all going to come out at once, which is the best thing that could possibly happen because. I learned the hard way, and I was selling my whole first month, and I was doing great, and I was going to the, post office every day, and I was selling all this stuff, and I felt so happy, and it felt so great, and then I looked on a port, I'm sorry, I got an email from eBay that said that, it's almost time to make your payment, and you owe us this much money, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I thought you guys were already taking out the money, And it come to find out that that's not what happens. I mean, you could do it that way. I mean, I don't know how to do it that way yet because, like I said, I'm still learning. But, that was like, wow, that was a really hard hit because, it was like $115 that I had to put out for that month. And, I wasn't smart enough to save it, Unfortunately, right now, not to try to get too personal, put too much of my business out there, but I'm in a wheelchair right now, which means I'm not working. So, financially, eBay is my primary income right now. So, putting out that, money really, really, it hit me pretty hard. But, luckily I was able to do it in two different increments, two different payments. When I had extra money, I paid them here. Had extra money, I paid them there, and I paid them before the deadline, and nothing happened. Thank goodness. But these are the type of things you have to watch out for as a newcomer, and things that people don't tell you. So know your platform, know what's going on before you get into it. You can read all the policies that they have here and all the disclaimers and all the disclosures and all this other stuff, but there's just some things that they don't tell you, and even if they do tell you, it's in it's not in layman's terms, it's in terms of you're not, some people just don't understand, legal, how they do things legally, like legal writing, and not everybody's a genius, so I'm not saying that I'm a stupid person because I'm a very intelligent man, but hey, look, that sound was a sale, and this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That sound right there is the best sound that you can possibly hear, and it was all because I took the time to start taking chances by upping prices and offering free shipping. I think that when people see free shipping, that is more appealing than the price. And I'm starting to understand now that, people don't mind paying 10, 15, $20 for an item if they're going to get it shipped for free. Not knowing that if they would have just paid the price that I put on anyhow, and the shipping, it would have been the same anyhow. I'm not looking to mass murder my clientele out there for money. I'm looking to just slowly make some money and build my business up slowly and get the good feedback and become a top eBay seller, and I will. I'm not the type of person that walks away from a challenge, and this is a challenge for me, and it's going to happen. So with that, as you can see with that sound, I got some work to do now. So that's a very good sound, and that's the sound that you guys are going to want to hear. When you hear that cha-ching, that's a good sound. Sometimes it's just they're offering you 10% off of something else that somebody else is buying, but most of the time it's a sale. So I hope everybody likes what I'm talking about, and I hope everybody prospers, and I hope everybody gets all the knowledge that they need to become the best reseller that you possibly can be. Like I said, shout outs to Stephen Rakin, from Rakin Profit. Shout outs to Bonafide Hustler. Shout outs to Rockstar Flipper, and all the other guys that come up to the green room, which is like kind of like a chat room. People talk and also get interviewed. And thank you guys for making me the person that I am today, so I can now get on and try to teach new people, new resellers a little bit. And as I learn, so will you. And I suggest that you do the same thing, because in this community, the best thing is knowledge, and everybody's situation is not the same. So, learning from different situations can help different people. So don't be selfish. Don't hold all the information for yourself. Everybody, there's enough people in this world to buy everything that we have. So everybody have a good night, and all I can say is persevere, and work hard. Have that good work ethic, and if you're going to be a full-time reseller, treat it as a full-time job. For now, that's all I have, and you have a good evening.